have given me. Momo has said Zones P1, Some Idiot P2, Get On P3. I think that's quite a good shout, actually. Some Idiot has been one to gain due to his consistency and through strategy.
It is about to go racing here.
It is indeed. The stewards have been in touch and informed us that there is no rain predicted for this race. So we will see how well this goes down as the lights are on then here in Britain for the Rwagnation League Grand Prix. And finally we're away. Zones who gets a pretty decent start, but I think that's Hugo's. No, it might even be some idiot who had a pretty weird start. It looked like he was going to get up to an absolute blinder, but nowhere near as good as Brownie has. He's up to P4, but he's run wide now. Coming in towards step 4. Hugo's going to lose out. Brownie's going to go around the outside. He cannot quite stick it through. I don't think he's going to try it anyway. Down the inside, rotations for Brownie. Bit of context, sorry. Wow, that took me by surprise. And that is actually Brownie still hanging in there for P5, but Top Tom has moved up to P4.
A little bit of debris coming out of the loop there in the back of this field as well, Raggy. It's wheel to wheel right now by Yonti coming down through Brooklyn's wheel to wheel now. Exchanging onto the inside is the Haas. On the inside of this Renault coming through Luffield now. Very, very tight for him, but he gets it done into that final points position for the time being.
Oh no! Florian and Dennis had a contact and Dennis got flung off the track as hard as you would ever expect. Florian is still going. He's got Phoenix Legend, who's had contact with. He sent him off as well, and that's Phoenix Legend spinning backwards off into the distance, into the gravel trap, if he can stay on the back of Zones. The ERS difference is drastic.
Yeah, he's locked and loaded on that energy deployment right now. He's just tapping and dancing around that 70 mark right now. You see as soon as he gets on the brakes, it shoots up between 75 and 80 here. He's got DRS down the hanger straight. Here we have it, Zones now. Around the outside as we move down the hanger straight. Rubber differential coming around the outside here. Lots of grip on that Mercedes. He takes Dennis, and it took some time, but he's made the move done. Dennis now, he could hold up, get owned, and get owned doesn't want to have the same problem that Zones had.
Yeah. I guarantee you get owned goes from... Oh, never mind, Dennis is just moving out of the way.
Wow.
Rainbow and Yonti are actually right there scrapping. Vexy's going to go down the inside. Oh, he's looking for a maneuver. He almost goes into the side of his team. He's going to squeeze Yonti out onto the exit curb. He has done exactly that. They are going to keep it nice and clean, but Yonti and Samidia are also fighting as well. So this is a 4-car battle for P8. Rainbow comes out of the way to let Vexit through. He's now going to hold back Yonti, although Yonti's going to go around the outside of Brooklyn's into the inside of the... Oh, Rainbow shuts the door. I think that was within the limits, but right on the limit.
Oh, some idiot. He had to look around the outside of Luffield there, Raggy, and now he's going to come through the inside of Woodcote, and he's going to dispatch this Haas. Rainbow has the charging Williams in his rearview mirror. Some idiot is not waiting around here at all.
It's going to be pretty much the end of his run in the fight for some idiot, because here comes the very quick Williams. Watch out for a late move from Rainbow to block off the line. Some idiot read that like a book, and round the outside he goes into Stowe. The move has been secured. He's up to P9, and now he needs to hurry up and close back in on Vexit.
It's going to be a long haul for him, but Cyclist is going to be happy to perhaps catch up with Rainbow just the same. These softs are going to really push him far here.
He's actually going around the outside here of Rainbow. This is going to be a really good move if he can pull it off, but Rainbow is one to know. He's going to give you the squeeze as much as you can, and yes, that's exactly what's happened now. With a very low ERS C-post, recognizes that Rainbow's going to go down the inside, but it's going to be really tough to stick it around the outside, but he's going to commit. He's got the grippier tyres. He's got the run he needs. He's down the inside into Luffield, and that position has been gained, and already he's on the back of some idiot. The exit has to be clean. It is. And that is now C-Post looking fired up for a P6 here. He wants more than that, though.
The Red Bull is some idiot going to have the run he needs here. He's gaining now. Looking to the outside, wheel to wheel as we enter through Stowe. Does he hold it around the outside? A little bit of a wheel tap there from the... Oh, and there goes Cypos through. Does he get both of them down into the chicane? It's wheel to wheel as we make our way through on the exit. Through Club now. Some idiot on the inside of the Red Bull.
Oh,
What a move and what battling we're seeing here, Rwaggy.
this is insane. C-Post gets 2 cars in just 2 corners. Such a fantastic drive from him, and Vexit gets a penalty for running wide. I think he got a little bit forced off wide, though. There was no contact, but that was still Vexit running a bit wide, and yeah, he gets himself a penalty. C-Post is on fire. Hugo's is closing in rapidly on Top Tom. He's surely not going to go for a move. This goes around the outside. Top Tom's going to look down the inside towards Stowe. He's going to force Brownie to go out wide a little bit. Hugo's suddenly smells blood. He can see an opportunity around the outside. He cannot make that work. Surely he hasn't. He will fall back to P5. But a little bit of life is starting to show here, and a mistake being made from Hugo's there. Because this is where he's going to pounce. If we come through Magus and Beckett, so the exit here is going to be huge for him, although he lost out quite a considerable amount there. ERS for Zones is single digits. Ghetto now, he's going to go for a move. Zones goes defensive. Around the outside now goes Ghetto into a Stowe. There's contact. Zones has been rotated, sent off the one to the distance. Brownie will now move up to P2. Top Tom gets P3. And Zones is right down there in P5. And C-Post is coming for him. He might even get him here as well. He is as well. He's up to P5. Suddenly, what looked so easy for Zones has just been smashed into pieces.
Race.
Yeah.
And these drivers came together after a deadlock battle for the win in this one, and now it's on the final lap that we go into where it's all come undone. Brownie's had a major issue.
Geton, who had a major collision there with Zones, will come around the final few corners. He's done a very good job for the majority of this race. Just one small moment has upset him a little bit, and that has cost him. He's going to get P1 across the line. It's Top Tom who's going to get P2. Hugo's comes across the line and gets P3. Brownie P4. There's contact between Vexit and Samidia. Samidia loses back in just a touch. He will come through the final corner and cross the line. Vexit losing the rear, crosses the line, but does fall to P9. Yonti is going to get the final copy. He jumps up 2 places, gets the final point position, and consistency is better than pace. I've said it time and time again, and Copy has proven it why. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the F1 Grand Prix here in the Rwagnation League at Hungary. It's an absolute blast of a track, and I'm Ben Raggy McConnell. Joining me on the caster's desk is the awesome Mark Hornbadger Meiklejohn. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, excited to get going here. It's just had an excellent F2 race, and yeah, ready to see if the F1 can live up to the same hype.
Well, this is the thing. If we even get the same as we had in the F2s, this is going to be absolutely mental. But this is the track they're going to be attacking today. 2.7 miles with 14 turns in total and 2 DRS zones, but most notably, only 1 detection zone. So if you don't get it done by turn 1, you can get it done again by turn 2. So make sure everything goes beautifully well coming into the Grand Prix. This is how they look coming into this weekend. Zones is your championship leader, but it is very close between him and Geton. Samidia is a little bit further back, but it's not over yet. We are just over the hump of the calendar, so there's still plenty of points to be achieved. Obviously, Brown is there too. He can actually potentially get P3, maybe even more than that if he really goes in for it. Then a bit of a gap down to Hugo's, etc., etc. But Yolta is currently holding best of the rest, because remember, the top 10 get invites to next season. Those outside the top 10 have to fight for their chance in the promotion relegation series to keep hold of their positions in the Rwagnation League Season 6 when we eventually get to that point. But in terms of the constructors, though, look at that. McLaren, they are up there by 40 points thereabouts ahead of Williams, but Williams have really been making good comebacks. They've not won any races, but they have scored huge every single race. Mercedes, not quite so much, but they're doing their absolute best to achieve so. So, A hot lap of this circuit will look exactly like this. Done by Yonti. DRS wing wide open as we come down the home straight up towards turn 1. You have to make sure that you have a really good braking zone coming into it because you need momentum and everything else to go with it coming through the exit. Don't run too wide because it's very easy to get on the curb and lose your back end of the car, but he's done it perfectly well through here. Is another DRS zone here, but not really one for an overtake unless you can get on the inside here on this long, slow left-hander, but then foot down, plant it. Cut the curb on the inside, don't run too wide as you come up to a very fast sort of mini chicane here. It's a very gentle right, but then it's a very sharp left. Don't run too wide, it's very easy to invalidate or get penalties coming into the race. As you come to the long right-hander, don't touch the inside or the exit curbs, and then coming into a very tight chicane here. You want to try and cut the exit quite nicely and then run off into a long, slow left-hander into the yet another long, slow right-hander. Then you've got more left-right, so you've got this time flat out coming into it, and then a right-hander very quick, flick through, downshift once, and then get on the exit as much as you can, because you need to maintain pace as you come to this braking zone here to get the curb just nicely tickled, and then on the exit run a bit wide, then come back in again, straight over, tickle the inside curb once more. We love a good tickling as you come up to the final corner. Just again, watch out for the pit wall if you are going to take it tight, but this time Yonti takes it very wide, very much needful as we come onto the home straight to then take us into the actual Grand Prix. Now, Badger, you had an idea as to how the track was going to go down in the F2s. Obviously, the F1s are a bit different with the fact that they have ERS they can manage, they have fuel mix that they can adjust, and they're a lot grippier in these cars. So, I need to hear from you. Who's your top 1, 2, 3? For quali, of course.
To be honest, I think it's going to be very, very close between Zones and Get Owned, but I'm going to put them in that order. And I think P3, I'm going to go out the box and say Sipos is actually going to nail that one and get a P3.
See, Sipos has been somebody. I mean, I think it was his first race last week, if I remember correctly, and he really showed he had skill and pace. He overtook in such a beautiful manner 2 cars in like 3 corners, I think it was, which was just fantastic. Yes, he had the grippier tyres, but still, that is still really impressive regardless. This is a much harder to overtake track, as I said, throughout the entirety of the F2 races, but it isn't impossible. So Sipos to deliver a nice qualifying session, if he can sit with the top 2, which is likely going to be Zones and Get Owned. However, and this is a huge however, I honestly believe Top Tom is somebody to watch here. I think he is a very fast driver, and this seems to be a track that, from what I can tell, would suit his driving style. So I'm hopeful he can get into the top 3. So with that in mind, I am going to say Zones P1, Top Tom P2, Get Owned P3.
See, I would love for that to be a thing, but every single time that we've mentioned Top Tom, he seems to have difficulties. So I'm just avoiding it, and if anything happens, it's now your fault.
Okay, well, Tom, I apologise, mate. I tried my best. I'll be more mindful going forwards. But I want to hear from you, chat. I can see MCAS has already put a prediction in there, but I want to see who else has a wild and out there prediction. So, MCAS says Zones, Get Owned, then Sumidiot. So Sumidiot P3. That's quite an out there prediction, if you ask me.
I mean, Sumidiot's shown so much good pace, especially of late, you know. He managed to cut his way through the field a little bit last week, and he is definitely someone that we can keep an eye on. But what I think is generally his strength is the race pace more than qualifying. So we'll see. I would love to see him up there, but right now he's currently sitting almost 9/10 behind Yolta.
Oh, Sipos had a bit of an issue there coming into the pit lane. Did in fact clip his back end into the wall, but somehow didn't retire. He's still alive and still good to go. Times have come onto the board. A 1:13.2 is our current fastest, but no one else is kind of there. Brownie 4:10 saw Fania a bit more than that, off 6. Yolta is getting a bit further and further out. Obviously, still plenty of people left to get times on the board. People getting bank collapsing. Lots of stuff to happen yet before we even get to the late stages of this Grand Prix. But I'm seeing an old RNL veteran in the chat, Mr. Gooby, giving us a prediction here saying Yolta P1, Rainbow P2, Zones P3. Now, I've heard of out there predictions. That might be a little bit too out there.
You know, again, I would love to see it. You know, Yolta seems to have been kind of struggling in F1 2020 in regards to overall pace. Last season, he was definitely seemed to kind of have it. this season he's just almost there. He's just not quite hooking it up quite the same way that he would have managed before. But Hugo's with an absolutely incredible time. He managed to go a tenth faster than Zones. So it looked like initially the Mercedes were potentially not on equal performance and were sitting away in the distance, but nope, Hugo's has managed to get right up there and go provisional P1.
Yeah, beautiful lap time from him then. We actually have a further prediction. Noosa has said Brownie P1, Zones P2. Now, Brownie has got a lot of hours under his belt on this game. He spends a lot of time getting himself ready for any league race that he goes into, this being no exception, and this is actually... I don't think this is a track necessarily that suits his driving style. He's very good at France. Oh, Safso just chucking himself out of the way there. I think he really did not want to get involved in, I think, is Phoenix Legend, yes. Who's out on the mediums, bear in mind. 123.7. Yeah, we'll see.
Yes, somebody also set his time on the mediums, so that's something to bear in mind. And yes, Phoenix Legend's actually a long way off what somebody was able to do in the same compound. Yonte as well, on his outlap, currently... Oh, nope, the game is lying to me. It did say that he had mediums on, but he's now definitely got the softs on.
Yeah, 100% has the softs. Exit was pretty clean there as he comes on to start his hot lap then. We'll keep an eye on him as he goes around on whether or not he can actually chuck in a new fastest lap, but a 1:13.1 is a crazy quick time. I think we're going to be seeing 12s, honestly. A 12.7, maybe? 12.8?
I mean, that would be a remarkably quick lap time. But, you know, some of these guys, I mean, have already set in for their banker laps times that I didn't think they'd be reaching. So, yeah, Zones and Hugos could definitely dip into the 112s.
It'd be pretty mental, wouldn't it, if they actually achieve that nicely. But yellow flags for slowed car ahead. That is a Ferrari. Nothing to worry about. Obviously, in qualifying, people do tend to slow down to allow drivers through. Phoenix Legend being one of them. And there he goes, getting out of the way quite nicely.
Yeah, and it's quite a short track, so you know there might be a bit of backing up in Sector 3 just while people try and get some clear air for their run. So you might see that yellow flag pop up a few times through this session.
Okay, well, here he comes then. Yonce, oh, the back end just stepped a little bit too much. I think that's going to be enough. It puts him P3 though. I mean, Yonce is somebody who never does well in the qualifying, but always brings it back in the race. Imagine what Yonte could achieve if he also had a good qualifying to go with it.
Yeah, it kind of makes me wonder if people have deliberately put in incredibly slow times because, as you say, somebody that's been out there on the medium tyres, Phoenix Legends doing the same, so they clearly think that the alternate strategy might be the way to go. But, yeah, I mean, Yonte, don't get me wrong, we know that he's definitely a very quick driver, but as you say, just for the qualifying, he's usually not quite up there. So I wonder if people have just deliberately kind of slowed down their times a little bit and he's managed to sneak up a few positions.
I would be surprised if that is the case. I mean, this is a track where track position is quite important. So I think initially it was more people just getting banker laps in by taking that set. Because, I mean, realistically looking at it, turn 6 is actually really quite a tough... oh, your zones is just invalidated there. And this is what I'm talking about. You get to a point where you want to start really committing, but in practice you get an idea as to just how much you have to push the limits in order to get a really good, crazy lap time. So zones showing, yep, a 13.2, which is still fantastically insane. But he will need more than that in order to secure pole position. Because I think, you know, we're still yet to see Gaton chuck a time in. He's actually still in the pits. Florian in a similar boat, although he's had very hit and miss qualifications in the past. Another invalidation there for him, so he's going to struggle in that respect. Dennis, he actually stopped right before the line there, just to make sure he invalidated, or didn't go faster.
Yeah, so I definitely think some of these guys are wanting to do the medium run. But interesting to note, Zones is actually 4/10 faster than Yonte in Sector 2. Zones is absolutely nailing that Sector 2. I don't know where he's getting his pace from. Like, That's insane. Absolutely insane how much time he's gaining through there.
But also bear in mind that that is the gap between him and Yonti. So Yonti is doing the same Sector 1 and Sector 3 as Zones. So if that is, that is a fantastic display, if you like, of what Yonti is capable of. If he can just figure out Sector 2, he could easily be up there with Zones at the start of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, and again, interesting, Hugo's is actually 3/10 faster than Zones in Sector 3. So clearly these guys have set their cars up slightly differently for kind of massively different performances in different areas. So I don't know if maybe Zones just made a mistake in Sector 3, but 3/10 is again a big gap that you wouldn't expect him to be losing by. So you have to keep an eye on that, but Hugo's definitely did set an absolutely blinding first banker lap.
I actually also want to give a little bit of a mention there to Rainbow. Now, Rainbow, I've actually seen him race on the circuit in ERS, and he was insane there. He dominated that Grand Prix. Not this year, last year, and it was an absolute blast. Last season, sorry. It was an absolute blast. He really did demonstrate how good he can be around the circuit and how much you have to push the limits, and he's doing that. I saw him just completely mount that curb there as he came into to the left-hander. He's really extending the track limits as much as is legally allowed.
Yeah, you can see he's kicking up the dirt there a little bit, and the tyres are kind of millimetres within the white lines at times, which, again, completely legal. And, if you do that and you can maintain the momentum, that's exactly how you gain time.
Well, here we go then. Yonti's going to get on the board again, I think. Oh, this is him starting his hole, I'm sorry. So he will have to go faster than that. It was Safso who actually chucked a time on there all the way around. Here comes then Mr. Rainbow to the line. He will get a lap time in, and it is a P8, 1:13.697. Not quite what I was expecting from him, but he's not over yet. Zonzen is now going again to improve his already quick but not yet insane lap time, as everyone else is starting to start theirs too.
Yep, and Florian's just came out as well. The pits finally, as Get-On's already halfway around on his first lap, which again kind of did wait quite far into the session before we've seen the McLarens, but usually these or Get-On at least can pull it out the bag, and we'll like to see Florian get up there as well.
Yeah, this is, by the way, not a track that you want to try the alternate strategy on. You definitely want to be gaining track position, but overtaking is not easy. Were you watching C-Bus?
No, Get-Oned a 12.8.
Oh,
that is laying down a marker. Holy.
A marker and a statement. And that is absolutely it, Zones. I'm faster than you. I'm sick of this. I'm going to beat you this time.
Yeah, so that's he's matched. Well, he's went faster than Get-Oned by 0.05 of a second in Sector 2, and then he's also matched Hugo's in Sector 3. So he's got the best of both of them within their areas of expertise, as it were. And Zones there managed to set his lap time in, but still a 10th behind.
Yeah, and that's going to annoy him, to be honest. That's going to annoy him quite a lot, because again, as I will repeat it until it sinks in. This is a very difficult circuit to overtake, except on the home straight, which doesn't rule him out from being in a position of going for the race win. But a run up towards P1 on the start line may be the only thing that separates Zones and Get-On from the win.
Yeah, it could definitely be that, and again, depending on how they've got their car set up, you might not have the straight line speed, and if the guy behind you's got the lower wings plus the DRS and plenty of ERS, which we've seen Get-Oned is great at maintaining a lot of ERS, that could be all she wrote. So it's definitely something that the guys will need to have worked out with their setups, and hopefully taken it into consideration.
So, something to also spot is 4 drivers have still not yet got times on the board. It's not that they've not been out and... Florian!
Oh.
I thought he was going in a bit hot there. He did exactly the same as C-Post did, and he gets away with it in the same way that C-Post did. That was very lucky there from him, to be truthfully honest.
Yeah,
But,
I don't
but
know
yeah.
if that was a reset or if that was the game, like launching it, like taking over for the because he entered the pits. But if that was a reset, that might be something that he gets looked at for.
No, I think that was a game forced him to do that. I don't think he chose to
Yeah,
do that.
fair. But yeah, that was very close to all she wrote for Florian.
Also, Mercedes double stack right now.
Yep.
Which shouldn't be a problem. I think there's enough time for a
It
Vanya
is,
to
yeah.
get out. Yeah, it should be okay. I mean, we are, bear in mind also, there is the spectator bug where our clock on the spectator side is ahead of what the drivers see. So I think it's around about 30 seconds thereabouts, maybe a little bit more. But Hugo's is actually out there doing another hot lap now.
Yep, and a couple of the alphas and stuff ahead as well. So he's got some traffic. Didn't really get much of a toll from his teammate, which will be a bit of a pain. But he might be paying back the favour to somebody to give him a toll. Maybe that's why he's went out just now.
That was so on the limit there. That would have been amazing. I mean, Hugo's looks to have the pace in the quali here. Smitty is someone who normally pulls everything back in the actual race itself by going that bit further. And this is actually where that can massively benefit him. If he can extend the tyres a little bit further than the others, he may be able to opt for a better strategy or at least an alternate, that's for sure. But we'll see. Some idiot has to come up with something huge here, either right now in this qualifying session or in the race. Because P6, whilst it is decent, he only needs to improve by a tenth and a bit in order to get up there into the top 3.
Yep, and Yalta there's just invalidated his lap time. So not ideal from him. He's still down in 12th. So hopefully he should have enough life left in his tyres if he wants to go again. But as you say, because of the timings, he might be able to come in and get back out, and that looks like what he's trying. He's going to try and get a new set of boots and then get back out. So again, it's going to be very on the limit if he can do this, even with that extra 30 seconds. He's retired. So yeah, it must have just been too borderline for him, and he didn't want to try and push those tyres any further than he had to. So P12 is the best he will get today.
I'm sure that Yalta very much appreciates all of his fans that predicted him getting a pole. Unfortunately, he couldn't deliver today. But to another person has dropped out, C-Post. He is P11 right now, but it doesn't mean that he's completely out of this. He's still got a chance to go on to the optional. I'll start again. To go on to the alternate strategy. There you go. Maybe start on a harder compound and then sort of take the tyres longer. But again, this is not really a track where you want to be on that if you can avoid it. Because you got to pass cars if you do that.
He's also, that time he set was on the medium tyre. So it could have been higher if he'd went on the soft, and I suppose we'll never know. But that time he set was definitely on the medium tyre. So interesting.
The clock has run out then, and more people are coming to the line. We've got about another sort of 6 or 7 seconds, I'm told, before their clock also runs out, because apparently we're only 10 seconds behind, but we shall see. As Danico then will cross the line. He's started his hot lap. More people coming to kick off his. I mean, he's actually got a lap done already on these tyres, so he's going to be a little bit worn in.
Yeah, I don't know if it's really worth him to try and take these a little bit further. Get-On just went a little bit wide there in his hot lap, so he might struggle to improve, but he's staying committed.
Oh, he ran off the track there, but somehow still got away with it. According to my Delta there, he was 9 thousandths faster than his previous best, and he is looking absolutely committed, absolutely determined. Can he extend his already existing time for pole position? No, he cannot, but it is close. Where's Zones? Zones is coming to the line. Is he going to get it? No, he can also not improve, so he will stay at P2. Hugo's, where are you? You've invalidated, and you're in the pits, so you're done and dusted. Vanya is next to the line then. He's invalidated, so he will not be improving. More people coming into the pits. I think now we're waiting for a Ferrari. That is Phoenix Legend. He's not going to get it there. Tom, he's actually going to get time on the board, and he goes P11. So the strategy is available to him. Danico is done, and I think Rainbow is also done. Anyone else? No, that's it. Qualifying is over then. So Get-On gets pole position. Yeah,
that's, again, Hugo's kind of came out of nowhere. He wasn't in any of our predictions. But as Danico's crossing the line in style, ends up in the wall. Obviously, that won't affect him in the race, but you see
I think that
sometimes.
affects his tyres though, actually.
It might affect his tyres depending on how hard he went in. I kind of only saw the aftermath there. But yeah, get owned with
Rainbow just got disqualified.
What happened there?
So Rainbow getting disqualified means, that's because he's been reset to the pits, but him being disqualified means Tom is now in the top 10.
And that removes that strategy option from him. Interesting. I wonder what happened there.
Well, answers on a
so
postcard,
Rainbow
please.
came up saying he was retired, terminally damaged on my screen. So
interesting. All right, well, we'll have to wait and see. But the qualifying rundown is as follows. Get Owned with pole position. Zones P2, Hugo's P3, Danico P4, but Brownie, who's P5, apparently has a 5-place grid penalty. I don't know how or when he got that, but he has one. Somebody at P6, Higgsy P7, Yonti P8 with Vania P9, and Top Tom, due to the disqualification from Brownie, will be moved into the top 10 and rounders out, with C-Post then getting best of the rest, even though he did his lap time on the mediums. Yolta P12, Dennis P13, Safso 14th, Phoenix Legend 15th, Alex Bud 16th, Copy 17th, Florian, one of the two drivers, Copy and Florian both not getting a time on the board, and Rainbow, who did get a time and actually got himself into the top 10, because of the disqualification he gets, will start dead last.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he has anything to say about that. We didn't really see a reason why he got the disqualification, but that certainly throws his efforts in the bin, and yeah, he's got a long, hard race in front of him now, because as we've said, it's very difficult to overtake around this track.
Yeah, absolutely. But the drivers are all on the grid right now, just getting themselves ready, choosing what race strategy they want to go with. Obviously, the top 10 have to start this race on the tyres that they qualified on, which obviously brings now Top Tom into that mix as well. But those outside of the top 10 can choose whatever strategy they want. So they can go mediums off the start, they can go hards off the start. But do you really want to do that on a track like this?
It really would depend on how much carnage you think there's going to be. I personally, depends how fast you think you are compared to the people in the back of the grid with you, and whether you think there's going to be safety cars and things. It's going to be a risk to go out on a harder compound. Realistically, I don't expect many people to try it.
No, I mean, personally, I wouldn't, but we'll have a look now and see who's done what. Yep, everybody except Phoenix Legend has decided, yep, well, Rwaggy, you know nothing. We're going to opt for their mediums and hards combo. C-Post taking hards.
Yeah, that's interesting. Very interesting.
He has crazy level of pace. Bear that in mind. He has insane levels of pace. So I actually think he would have been in that mix between Get Owned and Zones. I think he may have actually been the step between them had he gone onto the softs, because his medium lap time was really good. So if he could do the similar sort of pace but on softs, then we're talking like easily up there with Zones and Get Owned sort of style. But he chose not to. It did cause him to start much further back. I think he really didn't want to be on the soft tyres on this Grand Prix. So I wouldn't even be surprised if he goes hards mediums. There are 35 laps on this track, and the tyre degradation is huge.
I just had a look. Someone else has been removed from the top 10.
No,
because
Top Tom got moved down.
Oh, right, yeah, because he's penalty. Yeah.
Because he was P5, but he got that 5 place, and apparently
Brownie
is pissed, apparently.
So what was the cause of his penalty, do we realise?
In order to get that, he must have got from collision with somebody. But the problem is that you can't even fix it post-race. You know what I mean? Like it'd have to be a full race restart in order for it to be amended. But you know, there was contact. There may be penalty points awarded to another driver if it fell or whatever they did. If it was not Brownie's fault, was deemed unfair, then the stewards may look into it. But As it stands, there is no message from the stewards to inform us of any investigation, so we're just going to take it as that's what it is kind of thing.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but again, with the way that the penalties are dished out in game, there's not really much that we can do about that. So he's just going to have to take it to chin, try and put it behind them, and just get as far forward as he possibly can.
Well then, here we go. It's a long run up towards turn 1, and Geton's going to need the fantastic start here in the Hungarian Grand Prix. And it's go time. It looks to be pretty clean. Nobody losing any rear. Who is that? A Ferrari is absolutely bombing it down the inside of everyone at the beginning. Geton has got a fantastic start. Hugo's also trying to defend himself from Danico, who's gone round the outside. There's a four-way movement. That is Top gone right down the inside. He's had contact with a few people. He's come out in P8 now. Brownie up to P7. He is fired up and he's not backing out.
Yeah, that's what we like to see. Brownie's definitely fighting. C-post there. He's managed to just get by him.
So much contact down at the back of the grid. Yellow flag, sector 1. That is because Florian, Samidia, Alex Bud, Copy, Dennis, Phoenix are all caught up in some sort of incident. And it looks like Copy's the one who's lost out.
And Vanier's had a great start there. He's managed to get up 3 positions, and he is looking potentially... I think he's actually maybe got more than that. No, he's definitely moved up to 3 positions, so just trying to work out the telemetry there from the side. But he's almost up there with his zones, and he'll be able to act as rear gunner if he can dispatch Danico and Hugo's.
Summit has had the worst start to a Grand Prix he's had in a very long time. Due to an unjustified penalty for Brownie at the end of the qualifying, the race will be restarted.
Right, okay. That's a trial run we've just had there. That's all it was. Trial. And we'll do it all again.
And that's going to be a real kick in the teeth for a couple of individuals, just mainly because they actually had a really, really good start.
It's a lifeline for somebody.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. They've just been told it's a race restart. And yeah, obviously, the drivers love an opportunity to have a little mess around. So when they see something like this go down, yeah, you know it's going to kick off. People are all having little takeouts here, left, right, and center. But bear with us. We will just take a very quick music break and we'll get right back underway with this race as soon as possibly available. Bear with. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, for the lengthy delay. We did have some desyncing issues as well upon rehost of the lobby, so there was a bit of people leaving, rejoining, and then all the grid editor stuff, as you always have to do. However, we are back in. Everybody is in their respective positions, but just to clarify some situations, if you like. So Brownie, the reason for the rehost was Brownie was given an unfair 5-place grid penalty, and it was at the very beginning of the race, so it was in the best interest of everybody that we did it straight away before it got too far in. So Brownie will be back in his P5 position. On top of that, Rainbow will still stay in last place. He stays P19, okay? So bear that in mind. He's not going to be resuming his previous position. Everyone will be carrying on, except for Brownie, who will be back into his P5 where he was before. So, something to note. We did see, obviously, a start of the race just there. We saw Top absolutely send it down the inside of everybody, and he climbed right the way up to P6 at one point. Did fall back to P7 as a result, but still had a really good run. Samidia did get into a heavy contact in towards turn 1 and fell right to the back of the grid. So, he's going to be looking to try and make right the wrongs that happened in the last race. Yeah,
he kind of was given a lifeline with this this rehost, so we'll see if he is able to make the most of this this opportunity he now has. It has definitely worked out in his favour, and he'll now be aware of kind of the mistakes that were made in the last launch. So this is it. Needs to get it right this time.
Yeah, and it's also the same for Copy, because Copy had huge issues from the get-go. I mean, he's already down in P17 anyway, so we're expecting it to be like that. However, you know, now with the fact that he's standing on the hard tires, you need to make sure you don't screw this one up. So, fair play. That's exactly what we're going to go for. Why not? Hey, why not?
And Get Owned has absolutely disappeared. He's eager to get this race underway. He is... He's going to be sitting on that start-finish a long time waiting for the rest of the field to catch up.
I mean, his tyres will be very hot from this formation lap because this is a track that generates a crazy amount of heat. So, yeah, he'll probably be back to the normal temperature. He's just got there a little bit earlier.
Yeah, he's not hanging about. And to be honest, under normal FIA rules, Zones potentially would be getting a penalty right now because he's more than 10 car lengths behind by some margin. Obviously, the F1 game does not penalise you for that, thankfully. So there will not be any further incidents or penalties from the formation lap. But yeah, Get Owned is definitely he knew how he wanted to heat those tyres up.
Yeah, 100%. There was no way he was going to do anything else. And, you know, fair play to him. If it works for him and he's comfortable, that's what it is. But we're coming back now through the final corner then to get ourselves back. And for the second time, underway with this Grand Prix. Obviously, I'll say again, it's a long run up towards Turn 1. We saw a few people having really good starts. Top Tom, I actually want to catch him as we come into it because he really blew up the track so fast. And I'm hopefully going to see the exact same thing again. But then for the second time then here in the Rwagnation League at Hungary. Hey. There we go, we are away here. What a beautiful start there it looks like from Samidia. He's going to be down in P6, but he's going to be trying to climb himself up there. Brownie's had an even better start. He's round the back of Danico. This is surely going to be ascending towards Turn 1. He's going to be really tight to it, but they keep it all together just about. Brownie up to P3. Side by side still with Danico, but Danico might be able to favour this one out as he comes through. There's a lot of carnage going on at the back of the grid. Florian's been sent off to the gravel. Safsto's going to make his move around him as well if he can. This is going to be a little bit awkward situation for Yolta, who's down into P18.
Yeah, Yolta's had a big issue there. He's dropped well further back, but Rainbow already up to P11.
Yeah, I mean, he had a fantastic start last race. This race has been even better. This guy is crazy when it comes to these race starts. C-Post is getting on Alex Bird, who's up to P13 as well. Bear that in mind. Lots of issues and carnage going on. Rainbow up 8 places. He's currently the biggest winner. Yolta down 6 places. He's currently the biggest loser. Lots of threes everywhere else, both positive and negative, but still, lap 1, no safety car. I think there's been a little bit of damage, but more for the back of the grid.
Yeah, that's most people have kept it pretty well clean and got away nicely, and now they're kind of falling into the possession that we said would potentially happen here.
Well, Top Tom is in P7 pretty nicely. He got himself up 3 places in the last one. He's got himself up 3 places again in this one. He's burning a lot of his ERS because he smells blood on Hugo's. Lunge down the inside in towards Turn 1. Bit of a side-by-side as well. They'll come out through the exit. No DRS available because we are only on lap 2, but he's going to be trying his absolute hardest to get the exit he needed, but he couldn't quite get it. Coming round the outside, though, here. If he can keep himself alongside, which he just cannot, he may have had a chance to go for a maneuver. 2 people in the pits. That is Copy and Florian, both needing replacement wings, it looks like.
Yeah, that's not ideal for them. Copy, usually keeps himself out of incidents pretty well, so that's very unfortunate that he's been caught up in that.
Yeah, I mean, we normally call him Captain Consistency. We also call him Carlos Sainz because he never gets any time on the TV. But you know what? It's heartbreaking for him because he is a very quick and very consistent driver. It's just sometimes he gets caught up in situations. I don't know exactly the detail of what happened to him. Hugo's running pretty far out wide there. That's almost certainly going to be a warning for him. Alex Bird getting the first penalty of the session down in P16. 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, didn't take long before we got that on the board. So that's something he'll need to bear in mind. But he is up 16th position, so he's running with them this week, which is good to see.
Yeah. C-Post Patrick, I've just been keeping an eye on. A bit of a backhand kick out there actually for him. He is under-fueled at the minute. He's yellow fuel. Now, I know for sure, I set it, so I know for definite that it's a dry race. There is no chance of rain. Usually we see that strategy when it is a bit wet. Coming up later on in the race, but no, not in this one. He's just opted to, I guess, sit in the train. I think that's probably his plan.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's probably a good idea, a wise idea. Because the train is just so powerful here, it's going to be all the way down the field pretty much. So if you are able to just maintain that, as Phoenix Legend gets himself 3-second time penalty. But yeah, if you are able to lower the fuel and just maintain and kind of save it back during the race, that's fine. I mean, that's pretty much what they do in real life F1 as well. They often underfuel the car just to make it as light as possible. So probably won't backfire, and he should make it to the end of the race, no problems.
See, it would be horrific for me because I am the biggest fuel guzzler you've ever seen. But here comes Seapost then on Rainbow with a DRS wing wide open. He didn't even really use any ERS there. No congestion there from Rainbow. Big lockup there. Bit of a... I'll tell you something. That was a good catch, but all that hard work and effort has just gone to waste because he's not going to get the move unless he goes again down the inside here. They are going to go side by side. Rainbow does not want this. He knows how much you need to stay with that train, and they are very much out of it. And this is now a problem for both of them. Hard tyres for Rainbow, so he's going to be happier that he's behind Seapost rather than ahead of Seapost. But now Seapost actually has to close back in again. And how many more times can I say Seapost?
I'm going to imagine at least one more.
Yeah, Seapost. Yeah.
There we go. Perfect. But yeah, you know, he did get that kind of double use of the DRS there. Actually helped him get that move kind of cemented after he made his mistake. So he was able to utilise that, as there's a safety, there's a yellow flag in sector 2. Doesn't look like there's many people there, so it should be okay, no problems. It might be Alex, I think.
Yeah, I think it is.
But Rainbow now just needs to try and focus and stay with Seapost, but he's already seeming to kind of build up that gap, and he's already out the DRS zone, so not ideal for him sticking on those hard tyres. It's just doesn't seem to have the pace with him right now.
Well, somebody who has got pace to close back in again is Yolta. He's on the back of Dennis now. He had a horrible start. He's looking for a nice simple overtake right down the home straight, as easy as can be. Dennis didn't try to fight because, again, same situation. This doesn't benefit you by going side by side on this circuit. Just wait. Just stay in the tow. Stay alongside. As long as they're not slowing you down, then you're fine. And Yolta, he saw that Dennis is that little bit slower and then went for it. Seapost, though, he's getting himself a penalty. This is not good for him.
Yeah. And to be honest, he is not the only one that's getting close. I mean, I'm actually just looking at all the warnings that people have got, and most of the field have warnings right now. Zones has got a warning, Brownie's got a warning, Get-On's got a warning, Seapost with a penalty. Everyone's getting warnings right now, so penalties will come into effect by the end of this race by the looks of things. The two leaders both on a warning each. It's going to be a problem potentially for those that just are a little bit over eager.
Well, the way I see it, we just get to try out the new feature, you know? We really get to see how good it can actually be. There you go. 3-second penalties for all those three individuals: Seapost, Phoenix Legend, and Alex Budd for now. Like you said, very high likely chance that we're going to be seeing a fair few penalties applied. This is going to be a battle of consistency, in my opinion, and Brownie may be the one who becomes the victor here, because he is a bit behind, 1.8 seconds almost between him and P2, which is Zones, who's currently just sitting on the back of Get Earned. But he's someone you can rely on to be consistent on the tracks where you need to be consistent.
I will throw out, Brownie does indeed have a warning. Get-On's got 2, and I think Zones has the 1. So, yeah, right now, Brownie and Zones are similar. Get-Oned with that extra 1 warning, so he is basically on his last legs. If he gets 1 more warning, he will get that penalty, so he will need to make sure that he keeps it extra clean, as Florian also gets himself a 3-second time penalty, as we're talking about it there. So yeah, it's going to be something that plays a factor. Yeah,
100%. Copy. Pit. Florian. Yeah, pit lane is activated. Top Ton's in, Jonty's in, Vanya's in. It's pretty early as well. I mean, I know the tyres degrade really hard here, but this seems a bit too early. The undercut, though, for those guys may be huge. Who knows? If they go hards now, which they have done, they may take these to the end of the Grand Prix. That is going to be, what's that, 28 laps, I think? 29 laps before we see the end of the race. That's a lot of laps to do on a hard tyre.
Yeah, it really depends on the kind of pace that they've got. you know, while putting it down. It's all well and good to go onto the tyre and, you know, make it last, but you also need to be fast and consistent on it. So if get these extra guys out on the soft and the mediums, if they can just do it a few more laps at a higher pace, then, you know, it's going to work well in their favour.
Yeah, without a doubt. I was just saying though, Florian, Alex Bird and Copy, they are begging for a safety car, and I guess I jinxed Brownie because I said, oh, he could be consistent in the race where he needs to be consistent, and he's not. So it's a hard yikes, a hard sad, but it is what it is. And Brownie, P3 will need to manage that gap now, and Zuz is in, Get Owned is not.
Yeah, I expected this really from Get Owned to just, he's putting in some decent times, and no one on the hards is really lighting up the timing sheets yet, so we'll see. I'm just kind of waiting on the times coming in for them for their sector 2 and everything, but it's not looking like the hards are particularly the faster tyre at the moment, so if Get On just manages to nail it for another lap or so, then he might be able to build up that gap and get out that 1 second margin.
Can you just check? I think Get On just got himself another warning. But
yes, he did.
Not, yeah, so what's he on 2 now?
That'll be him on 2, though I thought he was already on 2.
He may have got a warning for contact, potentially. That might be where he got that one from. Yellow flag sector 1, that is Top Tom. He's only just come out of the pits.
Looks like he's had an instant and had a little slight off there, so.
Yeah, that's not good then. Okay, well, no puncture, that's for sure. It's way too early for that. However, he did very much have issues. I think it was just tyre temperatures, honestly. You know, being cold is pretty easy to spin the tyres. I mean, I definitely didn't do it yesterday in my league race, honestly.
I mean, of course not.
Danico is in, so is Get Owned.
Yep, Get Owned's in, and I've just had a quick look to see he might actually... Yeah, I think he's coming out behind zones. I don't think there's anything he can do to come out in front. I think the undercuts worked, if I am correct, in my... I've gave it about a 21 seconds for the pit stop, so it's looking like it might be close.
I think it's going to be really close. Well, Zun's getting the tour from Yolta. Oh, there's Get Owned. He's actually come out ahead because of how much Yolta was holding back Zones there. So it's going to be really difficult for them, but it's a Shazoo civil war. Look, Get Owned, Zones and Yolta. Oh, yellow flag sector 3. We might see a safety car.
Yep, Top Tom is tired.
Retired on the circuit. Oh, is that? No, that was not him on the circuit. Sorry, he's done it in the pit lane.
No, he's in the pit lane.
Yeah. Yeah, he's had enough.
Yep.
What's that song again? When you try your best, but you don't succeed?
Yeah. Again, this is what I say every time we mention him. He seems to have jinxed, so I'm avoiding it from now on. I feel bad.
Well, I mean, I feel bad now because I did say he was going to do well. This is I said this was a track that suits his style, and it just didn't. So, oh dear. The big sad. Phoenix Legend getting a time penalty as well. He's on the board of penalties, which is not the board you want to be on, but he's on there twice. 6 seconds is what he's got to his name. Brownie into the pits.
Yeah, Brownie might have done this a lap too late, to be honest. He might have managed to benefit from if he came in the last lap, but it looks like now he's going to drop back again. A bit unfortunate. There'll be a bit of a gap. He'll probably go in behind his teammate, and he does. So he's dropped kind of almost behind Hugo's there as well. So yeah, he's got some work in front of him now.
Well, crucially, Get On has got past Safso, who has not yet pit. So this is crazy to see how...
Hugo's has just run Brownie off the road a little bit. There's been a little bit of bumping and grinding there. So that was a very nearly Brownie spinning out and into the wall. So that was close. I only just got on board as it was happening, so I'm not too sure kind of the lead up to that, but it definitely looked a little bit aggressive from Hugo's.
And Seapos is actually trying to make a move around the outside here of some idiot. This is going to be a fantastic move if he can pull this one off. Surely he can. Oh, he's actually got it. He's secured the maneuver, but some idiot also wanted to come into the pits as well. So this is actually not good here for some idiot because he lost a lot of time fighting. On top of that, where do you go now? You're going to come out so far back now.
Yeah. And Sasso there just moved out the way to let Zones past. He did not want to get involved in a tussle with him, just trying to use his slipstream and get the DRS off him and just get dragged along. But now you can just see just how far somebody is kind of dropping down the field now after he's made his pit stop.
We have a little bit of a scrap going on further down still. This is really quite intense. We're having Spain flashbacks here between Brownie and Hugo's. We saw them having a major battle going into towards turn 1 as Hugo's and Yolta are going to have a little bit of a very close little fight here. This is going to be Hugo's going for a send around the outside. This is not the line you want to take, but he's done it. Yolta opted to back out of that, and now he's going to have a conversation with his teammate, and that's exactly what he did. He said, look, go, round the outside here. Brownie read it, went for it straight away. Yolta did not delay whatsoever, and now Yonti, he's in this mix as well.
Yeah, and you know, it went from Hugo's being inside a Renault sandwich there to making an absolute stellar move up in a really dangerous part of the track to go for an overtake, and Yolta, quite rightly, has decided, nope, Brownie, go get after him. Like, I'm not in this fight.
Oh, Phoenix Legend has had issues. He's lost most of his front wing. He has a very damaged right and a very injured left. So he's going to be coming back to the pits as quick as he possibly can. Yolta having a bit of a lock up there. That's allowing Yonti to close right on in here. And that gap now that Yolta has to Brownie may be too big to stop Yonti from attacking. Yes, they will have DRS, but if Yolti decided he wants to go full beans, which it looks like is exactly what he's going to go for here, the ERS is in full go for. Round the outside towards turn 1 then. Yolta's going to have to hold it tight to line. There's a bit of contact between the two of them, and I think it's going to be safe and clean. A bit of a back-end step out there for Yonti, but he has got the move done. Yolta will have to fall to P10, and this is, well, I say that, but he's going to go around the outside then. How did he manage that one? He might actually be able to hold Yonti back.
Oh, he nearly managed it, but you know, Yonti managed to stick round the outside himself as well, and just made the move stick, and that's worked wonders there for Yonti. Yonti just needs to get going. You know, those tyres on Yolta's machine, yes, they'll still last for a little bit longer, but Yonti's made a mistake, and Yolta could come back, but there's nowhere really for him to go in this sector.
Another retirement, another DNF, and it's the other Ferrari driver. Both of them are out. They will not be scoring any points today, despite how many they have scored in the past. So it's a sad day if you're a Ferrari fan or a member of the Tifosi, but it's a great day if you are a McLaren, or specifically Get-Owned fan, because he is looking pretty damn good up there, 2 seconds ahead of Net P2.
Yeah, he's doing a really great job right now, and obviously Zones has got his work cut out back to try and get back into that slipstream, you know, get the ERS charge back up and just work Get-Owned down. But interestingly, as somebody just kind of makes a move there on Yolta, I'm just looking at the times here. If Sipos is to kind of come in and pit from where he is now, he potentially will still be coming out roughly about Yonti, Brownie's kind of location from the times that are currently setting in just now. Now he is going a touch faster than they are at the moment, so he looks like, if depending on how long he's taking these medium tyres, but if he stretches this and tries to put on the soft at the end, he could be in for a good haul of points at the end of this race.
I'm calling it now. Sipos getting a podium, 100%.
Yeah, P3 would be nice. I think P1 and P2 are most likely out of reach. Get-Owned and Zones are just seeming to be in a league of their own right now, but Sipos definitely, if he can stretch his medium tyres, I don't know how long he intends to go for, but he is just slowly bringing himself that little bit further up the field as everyone else is on the hard tyres behind him.
Well, this is the thing. I don't even think he has to, as Brownie is going to get a nice free little overtake here on Sefso. Sefso is considerably further in on these harder tyres, medium tyres, 13 laps in. But Sipos, I just want to touch on him. He doesn't have to really push them that far, because for every lap more that he stays out on these mediums, he's going to be in much better state later on in this race. As Zones, he gets himself a 3-second time penalty, and Sipos may actually be in with a shot then of P2 if Zones cracks any further.
Yeah, again, it will just really depend on what he's doing. If he's it'll be a miracle if he makes it to the softs from the medium tyres, from kind of like the pace that he's putting down. But he, as you say, he doesn't need to necessarily go for the softs. He could come in and stick on the hards, and still be able to lap faster than the guys behind him, because his hards will be that newer. So be interesting to see. But right now he's kind of running a race on his own, No one in front of him, no one behind him. He's not seen a soul on several laps, but that's actually working out in his favour. He's just got clean air, he can just put the lap times in. He does not need to care about what's going on behind him.
And if I remember correctly, this is one of the shortest pit lanes on the calendar. So, like you said, Ceepus, who should come out around about Yonti, but that train is pretty close. They're all just outside of 1 second of each other. I think if Ceepus pits next lap, goes hard to the end of the race, done. Easy peasy. I think he's getting very easily a P3, maybe a P2.
It depends how much worn tyres he's got just now. Because if he can push this to get the softs, then that would be better for him. So provided he can still keep lapping faster than the guys behind him. If he can do that, then yeah, easy peasy. If not, coming out in that train, that might be a very difficult train to overtake. If he can jump the train, that would be even better for him. But as I say, he is lapping just a little bit faster than those guys in that train. Overall, sometimes they're going a little bit faster, but overall, he just seems to consistently be about the same, just edging a little bit further and further away. But he looks like he's made the call and he is coming in, and I'm going to imagine then it has to be hard tyres. And it is, but where is he coming out? It's about a 21 second pit stop here. So yeah, he's going to be coming out in that train, but where in the train will he arrive?
Might be able to separate the Renault and the Haas. It's going to be close. He might actually get himself ahead of the Renault. This will be even bigger. Yes, he has. He's ahead of Brownie. We thought he was going to be down there in P8. He's actually up there in P6. So now that's 2 cars he doesn't have to worry about. His pace is going to be magical after the first lap is done because obviously tyre temperatures and such like. He does have to really commit, but my word, this is looking fantastic for him.
And during all that, I didn't actually even notice, but Getwand did manage to make it past Rainbow. So now he is officially back in P1 again. Rainbow is still on the tyres that he started the race on, but now, crucially, there is a car between Getwand and his nearest rival in zones.
Yeah, exactly. And that is going to be the difference maker. Part 1, difference maker part 2 is zones having a penalty, where Getwand does not. He's currently one of, 5 drivers that doesn't have a penalty to his name. 6 drivers, sorry, that doesn't have a penalty to his name. So, fair play to him. He's done a very good job so far, but he's already had some warnings, which does show that there is a weakness in his armor. He may just expose that in a short while time.
Yeah, it's definitely there. The risk is there, but again, right now he's got track position and he knows that even if he does get that penalty, Zone still needs to make the move on track.
And Zones is actually struggling ERS-wise. Look at his ERS. He's single digits right now, and that's to try and hurry up and get to the back of Rainbow. Rainbow's on 21%, so he's been dumping a fair bit to try and protect himself or keep himself as close to Get Owned as possible. Get Owned is relatively chilling. He's 32% in, and that's after a braking zone as we come through to a bit of a back-end kick out there for him. That's not ideal. But Ceepus already ready to go on Hugo's.
Yeah, and Zones, I think, is an incredible driver, but the thing that we consistently say about him is the man has no ERS left, and that seems to always be a problem for him. Every single race, he seems to be having issues maintaining his ERS levels, and because of that, you often find that in the latter stages of the race, he does get caught out, as was the case last week.
Ceepus had a little look down the inside there of Hugo's. Hugo's did have a mild panic attack, and that was actually pretty well planned there for Ceepus because the gap has just extended between Hugo's and Danico to a nice 7 or 8 tenths. Oh, he was fighting the car there. He's just lost all of the time he had made up to that point there.
Yeah, not able to make the move. And this is what I was saying, coming out in the train, yes, objectionably, he's got the faster tyres, but trying to make the move stick when the guys in front of you also have the DRS and the kind of the same tools that you've got, you kind of really do need to be right on the gearbox as you're coming out the corner to make it stick. But he is trying everything he can to just stay underneath that gearbox. He's staying as close as possible, just in case Hugo's makes any slight mistakes. Ceepus can then capitalise on that and try and get by.
Yeah, yellow flag in sector 1. That was... Oh, he's gone! Oh no! Big contact! Who was that? Was
He
that?
picked up Brownie, I think.
Yeah, it was
Yolta?
Brownie.
Brownie.
It was Brownie, yeah. Big collision. Left end plate is gone for him. A bit of a mistake there from C-Post, and that's completely destroyed Brownie's race.
Yeah, I think C-Post, as I say, was right under the gearbox of Hugo's, and I don't know if he was maybe just had a little bit of a touch onto Hugo's back end, and from there it just kind of spun C-Post out, and that has collected Brownie. Brownie needs to come into the pits. He has no wing left on that left-hand side. That has destroyed his race. He was having such a good comeback after the kind of false penalty that he got last time, and we had to do the rehost, and now, after all that, he's going to drop right down the field.
Yeah, and it's a shame, like you say, he was doing such a good job. It just all went wrong from that one contact. And that's the thing about racing, that's what makes it so entertaining to watch, is it only takes a snap moment. And your race could be going from the worst race you've ever had to the best race you've ever had, or the other way around. And that's exactly what's happened to Brownie. I wouldn't necessarily say this is his best race he's ever had, but it's definitely become one of the worst.
Yeah, and I mean, that's, again, through no fault of his own. He's effectively just lost 30 seconds in this race. And, yeah, there was nothing he could do to avoid. The C-Post was still spinning out in front of him. He hadn't managed to stop the car or maintain control. He was sliding across the track still. Nowhere really for Brownie to go, and he ended up just collecting the stricken car.
Yellow flag sector 2, that I believe is Dennis. Nope, it is Alex, who's had a bit of a spin. This may cause a safety car, but he doesn't want to move because he knows there's more and more people coming. He is going to go now. Now you should have gone.
I think he will just wait. There's a big gap there behind his teammate. So once Dennis goes, there we go. Alex is now trying to get back on the track. Nice and safe. He knew that there was a gap there, so he's able to do that. And I think he will also need to come into the pits. His wing is in bits.
Yeah, it's been a bit hard, to say the least, for him. I mean, this circuit is a very difficult circuit in general anyway. He really has to... you have to be perfect on every corner, every lap for 35 laps. It's not easy, to say the least. And that's all while managing your tyres, which on this track, the temperatures go through the roof so easily. Florian getting himself a nice new fastest lap, a 1:16.841. I don't think anybody's going to beat that, truth be told.
I mean... It would be close if anyone could, but there's a couple of guys that have just came out in the medium tyres. Yolta as well, Brownie's came out. So Dennis as well is now just having the medium tyres, as Alex is coming into the pits as well, so he might be sticking on the medium tyres. So the potential, any of the hard tyre runners are not going to touch that, but yeah, Alex is retired there, but the medium runners have just come out. They're all on, brand new medium tyres. They potentially could all be sitting in 116s.
Yolta may actually get himself some big points. This is one of the first races I've seen in a long time where Yolta has actually looked pretty good. Yes, he's had a penalty, but he's among many people that have, so that's not the end of the world. His pace is right there. He's right on the back of Safso. He's going to go for a move, surely. He's just biding his time to try and wait for an opportune moment. This is not the moment. A bit of contact between the two. Don't cause a rotation for Safso, otherwise you will get spanked by the stewards, and you definitely don't want that. But now, coming on to the home straight. This is an easy maneuver to make. He's going to get it done, but he has to watch out for Florian behind, because Florian also has a lot of ERS. Yolta decides to switch us down the inside as much as possible. Yolta goes back over. Safso having, again, a little look down the inside. Florian should be able to get Safso done if he can get the exit right. He cannot, so Safso will stay P12, and Yolta needs to run.
Yep, and I've actually just had a quick look there. C-Post managed to avoid all damage from that contact he had with Brownie. So he set in a 16 lap himself as, Florian looks like he was about to make a very risky move there. Yeah. But yeah, C-Post has managed to get away from any damage, so he could still be on for a good haul of points today as well.
I'm watching Florian. He keeps tapping the back of Safso's rear end here, which, yes, it's frustrating to be in this scenario knowing that you are much faster than the driver ahead, but at the same time, you got to be playing it patiently. Safso run a bit wide there, got on the grass, didn't actually lose his car, but that's still, mentally that affects you as a driver! Oh, that was very well held. Yeah, that was very close.
We could just feel Safso's buttocks clench from here.
Yeah, like a rabbit's twitching nostril, that was.
Yeah, that was very, very close. But yeah, I mean, as you say, the kind of like getting right under the gearbox and just touching the back there. Yes, it's frustrating, but you know, that's pretty much what it looked like Sipos had as an issue with. It was he knew that he was faster than the man in front, and it was just causing him problems as he was trying to stay right on the gearbox, and then eventually he lost it from being, you know, too close effectively. So in a zone where he wasn't going to overtake, but he's now Florian has made the move stick just into the home straight, so that has worked out. And on those fresher tyres, he can kind of disappear into the distance. Sasso just needs to do his best to stick within the slipstream of Florian.
Rainbow is all over the back of Vanya here. This is just going to be a matter of wait for the DRS and then go for it. But he's losing a bit too much time if he wants to be in with a shout of fighting Sipos once more. I mean, the gap was already, what was it, 11, 12 seconds earlier? But yeah, the incident between Hugo's and Sipos on lap 18 will be investigated after the race. I think that was the one that caused Sipos to rotate, right?
Yes. Yes, it was. As I say, it just looked like he might have just tapped Hugo's rear, and that just put him into like a self-spin. I don't think Hugo's can be under any blame from that, and I think the damage has already been kind of potentially done, but we'll see what the stewards decide. They'll obviously have much more camera angles than we've got right now, so it'll be good for them to have a look and just confirm.
Yeah, well, Rainbow gets past Vanya quite nicely. Vanya did give him a little bit of an elbow as he was going past. But it has been done and no damage for either driver. Rainbow, though, has a 9.5 second gap between him and Sipos, but he is on the much grippier tyres, being on the mediums as opposed to Sipos' hards. And Rainbow is one of very few drivers. What is it, 5 now? 4 now? 5? 5, yeah. Definitely 5. That have no penalties. Although Sipos has just got another one.
Yeah, but it's actually good to point out, Rainbow and some idiot. You know, Rainbow's gained 11 positions so far. He's got no penalties. He's potentially getting one off Sipos if he can just pull him in a little bit more. He could potentially be on for some more, potentially even in the top 5. But some idiot, you know, he is having a pretty good race. He's kind of where he started the race in, but he's had no penalties. He's potentially moved further up, and dare I say it, there might even be a podium. You know, there could be a late safety car, and then Get Owns, Hugo's, and some idiot are all sitting very pretty for a podium position.
I'm on board now with Samidia and Sipos, who are currently stuck behind one Yonti. Samidia is the one who has kept himself clear of penalties as well out of the 3 of them, and is looking favoured towards Samidia to maybe get himself back up there to get alongside his teammate. Who knows, but that's still huge opportunity here for both the Williams drivers. Hugo's is looking at a potential P2 if he can get into Zunz's penalty range. He's already within Danico, so that one's a done dealio. It's just, how does he fare this one off later on in this Grand Prix? Sipos still looking very quick, especially 7 laps in on the hards compared to everyone up ahead who's in the double digits and almost into the 20s as well, which is, you know, very favoured for him. But the penalty situation is not looking good for Sipos, and that's my concern. Consistency is holding him back.
Yeah, and yeah, he's definitely got pace, but he's just having a little bit too eager to kind of show off that pace and bully his way through the field, and it's kind of not working out for him. And it's again, like, you know, you can be as fast as you want, but if you're going to be picking up 3-second penalties every couple of laps, then it doesn't matter how fast you are, you're not going to be 3 seconds faster than the field.
No, definitely not. This little battle for P5 is kind of coming to a bit of a stalemate here. I mean, Yonti's still going to lose out to one of the drivers. He's not going to lose out to the other, that's for sure. But Sipos getting another penalty, and the back end stepped out too much. Now he's lost the gap. Now it's going to break past that 1 second margin. He's got a bit of ERS he can use to bring himself back in again. I think he's actually faster than both of them ahead. But he looked like he just lifted off there completely.
Yeah, it looks like he has a little bit, hasn't he? But I mean, he made basically the same mistake
He's
again.
Coming in.
He's coming in. He's coming in the pits. Yeah, that's
this is
interesting.
A retirement.
That's very interesting. He could definitely have got some good points there, but strange that this is. No, he's not retired yet. So is he just sticking on a soft tyres? He is. He's coming in for softs. Okay.
Why was he so slow?
That's a, that's a call. Unless he's hoping that there's going to be a safety car, but even then, like, you've already lost so many positions.
Well, 9 laps on softs on this track is very difficult to achieve. You know, the tyre wear on the softs is insane. The temperatures become crazy hot. You know, and once you break the 100 degrees mark, you are basically driving on ice. He's got to do that for 9 laps. That's not going to be easy at all. On top of that, if you look at the situation he's got with penalties, I think realistically he's basically said, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to hold into any points, so let's just take the fastest lap. Let's take the point away from the others, and I'll just cruise to the end of the Grand Prix. Job done, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, and let Higgsy take some points. Because Higgsy's now doubled up. He's gone up to P9 as a result of C-Post jumping out onto those softs. I think he could have got more, though. I think he could genuinely have got more.
To be honest, I think even with his penalties, you know, with the way that penalties were sitting behind him, he could have still maintained P10 and got got a point there that way. This time it's basically saying I'm going to remove a point from someone else rather than gain a point myself.
Yeah. Well, it'd be gaining many though, that's the thing, because if you look at it from the penalty perspective, yes, he would have lost a position to Rainbow. That's if Rainbow stays where he was. At the same time, it's also Vanya's got 3, Higgsy's got 3, Yolta's got 9, Florian 9 as well. Like, even with his 12 seconds, he'd have been fine. Yeah, he'd have still scored some points. And even then, he could have passed Yonti, who's on 6 seconds of penalties. Who knows what could have happened? It's just, I feel like he gave in too early.
I think so as well. I think he did kind of give in. I think he was probably getting a bit frustrated being under the gearbox and wanted some clear air. But that's definitely not I don't think that was the correct call.
No,
but
I agree.
Moving on to the rest of the race, Getwond has a 4.5 second gap now, plus he's got 3 seconds penalty advantage over zones. He is absolutely dominating this race.
Honestly, I genuinely didn't think Getwond was going to do well in this Grand Prix. As Seapost is going for a move down the inside here of Yolta. It's very touch and go, but he is go, and he's got that position locked in. So P10 back into his pocket, although when you take the penalties into account, he will still currently be behind. However, soft tyres on this track are much faster than the others, as he's just gone and proven there with a 1:15.644 being the new fastest lap time. However, give it a few laps, they will no longer be able to achieve those lap times.
Yeah, and again, it'll be remarkable if he manages to maintain P10 once the penalties kick in, but he just needs to put the foot down and hope he doesn't get any more, and see if he can just build up a gap to those guys behind him. Okay,
well, we are continuing as is. Florian getting another penalty as well, so this is going to favour C-Post that little bit more. He only needs to build a 3-second gap now rather than a 6-second gap, so fair bit to do.
No, Brownie's still within range, so Brownie's still within that 9 seconds, so he needs to break the 9 seconds from Brownie, and then he will be safe.
Okay, well, Samidia has brought himself onto the back of Yonti. He doesn't have to pass him because he is much better off penalty-wise than Yonti. And I imagine also tyre-wise, because 4 lap difference between the two of them usually favours Samidia in general anyway. But to have those lap differences makes it even easier. C-Post is going even faster than he was before, and now he's coming up to the back of his teammate. Pretty sure T-Mod is going to play a factor here, and he's going to say, yo, C-Post, do you want to help me get past Vanya, please? Yeah, cool, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's weirdly back to C-Post and Vanya. It was only a few laps ago that C-Post made the overtake on Vanya, and he's now rocked back up to this fight.
In terms of the rest of the grid, it's pretty well spaced out. Florian is within DRS range of Yolta, but not really in a position to make any sort of maneuvers. Hugo's that keeps teetering on the DRS there of Danico, but again, he doesn't actually have to pass him as long as he doesn't get a penalty. If the gap closes in between Zones and Danico a bit more, Hugo's may have a shot at P2, but I think P3 is the best he can achieve. Samidi's going to gain on Yonti. It's just going to be fabulous for Williams. Okay for AlphaTauri. Pretty good there for Mercedes. And Sipos gets another one.
Sipos with another penalty. So no longer pretty good for them.
Nope. Take that
That's he's just pushing the limits far too much, and it's effectively all of his own doing. You know, he was making an overtake on his teammate there, but he had the far better tyres. There was no reason for him to kind of clip the corners the way that he did, and yeah, this is just, you know, rein it in. Just, like, leave a tenth of your lap time on the table rather than, you know, trying to go for your quali lap every lap, and then you would not have these 15 seconds of penalties, and you would be gaining a lot of points in lots of positions.
Indeed. Okay, well, Higgsy now can actually attempt something on Vanier. The lap differences between the tyres slightly favour Higgsy, but not necessarily. In terms of penalties, they are even, so they will need to fight for track position. Whereas Yolta, who's a little bit further off with penalties, 9 seconds, he can't really gain on Higgsy unless he can somehow force Higgsy to make a mistake and then gain a 3-second gap as well on him. But I don't know. It's going to be... I think Yolta is going to be stuck outside the points today.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that might be all he's getting from this race, just the best of the rest award. But again, what could have been for Brownie? You know, he was right up there, and again, no mistake of his own puts him right down the field. So frustrating for him. Renault looking like they're going to walk away from here with no points.
Especially when you consider the driver's standings there for Brownie. Like, Brownie is P4. Yes, he's not in with a shot of getting P1 or 2, or at least not without a miracle run for the rest of the calendar. But still, a P3 would be fantastic if he could achieve that on Samidia, who's currently sat P6, looking to gain P5. So that really does add more salt to the wound when you get in those sort of situations. But, you know, that is racing. It can also happen the other way around, where Samidia ends up getting caught out and ends up getting sent to the back of the grid in the next Grand Prix. Copy has retired. He's taken himself into the pits and says, enough is enough. I'm too far back. I'm not enjoying this Grand Prix. I'm going to call it a day.
Yeah.
Dalton? Oh, he's gone for a send. That's a big lunge into the corner. He's just about forced Higgsy off the track there. Florian's coming through as well. He's actually got himself ahead of Higgsy. He's actually trying to get alongside Yolta. Yolta's going to have to really defend this because he hasn't really got the toe he needs as we come onto the home straight from Vanier. 8 tenths is the gap. Yolta will be in trouble here now, and Florian's coming for him.
Yep, Florian's just back in, stepped out a little bit there, but it doesn't look like it's cost him too much in the grand scheme of things, but he's just a little bit too far back for making this move into turn 1.
I've noticed Florian doesn't use Gear A, and I think that's kind of hindering him a fair bit here. I don't know, maybe he knows something that I don't, but why would you not use Gear 8 when it's there for you? You're max revving your car. It doesn't just keep climbing when you reach those max limits. But you know what? We'll test that theory one day and see if we can figure out why it is. But Florian is ready to go for Yolta. There's a bit of a mistake there. You can see a little bit of a gap down the inside, but you know, this is too difficult to go for a send here. And Yolta needs to pass Vanier as quick as possible, and he knows it.
So I have just checked on Get Owned, and he is doing the same. He is not using Gear 8.
I wonder if that's Race Engineer Tomic who's given him this information.
I think so, because I seem to recall that I think now, I hope no one in chat writes this down as gospel, but I believe there is something in the game that you should do your gear switching at 11,800 RPM for your most optimal gear switch, and you're only just touching 11,800 as you come into the braking zone.
Sorry, Yolta's got for a move down the inside here. There's a bit of contact between him and Vanier. This is going to allow Florian to get involved in this mix. It's 3 wide coming in towards turn 2. He backs out of it. Yolta's going around the outside. Vanier's going to defend down the inside. Florian's trying to get inside on anybody. He cannot get either. Yolta is through on Vanier. Florian knows he has to hurry up and get Vanier, so he's going to lunge in towards this corner, and he's just forcing Vanier off track. Somehow they both keep themselves within the limits, but Vanier defends. Florian is stuck and Yolta is free.
And Yolta's already built up a big gap there just in those kind of couple of turns. Vanier with an excellent defence. I thought he was going to back out of that, but he kept his foot in, and, you know, well played. both gave each other enough space, and that's not allowed Yalta to just disappear in the distance, and Vanya is now fallen outside the DRS zone.
Oh, Florian's going to go for a lunge here. He knows how much he has to. That's a lunge. He's going to go right off to the outside of the track. Vanya read that, backs out and says, go for it. But I'm going to get you again on the home straight. So do not think Vanya is down and out yet. On top of that, these two ahead of him have way more penalties than Vanya does. So this is going to be good for him overall, but he has to stay clean. He has to stay close enough. And the gap is already extending. So Vanya will not be able to get the move done in towards turn 1, but he might be able to return the favor in towards turn 3. You got to ask yourself, though, is it actually beneficial for you here? Because he's going there down the inside there of Vanya. Bit of a good exit there from him, but Vanya's going to be still stuck on the inside. So he's gone from trying to attack Florian to suddenly having to defend against Higgsy. Brownie's on the inside of both of them. He might be able to get both of these drivers in just 2 corners. He's trying to get around the outside of Higgsy. Higsy's just holding it within the limits and keeping the gap that he needed to. Brownie is ahead of Higgsy, but Vanya now, he's in trouble.
Yeah, Vanya is just dropping like a stone right now. You know, it's so difficult to get back into your rhythm once you've just been fighting through every corner on the lap for 2 laps. You know, he's going to need to try and just focus his head now and just focus on exactly where he wants to place this car, and try not to think too much about Brownie sniffing you behind.
I mean, you also have to bear in mind here that Sipos has a crazy amount of penalties, and so does Florian. So Vanya is going to jump right the way up to P8, I believe, which is, he doesn't even know it. He doesn't even know that's coming, especially with the fact that Sipos is just got another one. You talk about
every
it,
time
and
you
it
mention
gets
it.
worse. Yeah. Okay, well, you know this one's going to be a pretty easy overtake, I think, although there's not a lot of ERS available to Brownie here as he gets right onto the back of Vanya, switches down the inside, and there he goes right on through into the maneuver. Vanya's trying to stick it back through there with him. He can't quite keep it done, and that's why Vanya will fall to P12. But again, penalties taken into account. Brownie will still stay ahead of Vanya, but they will all jump up to sort of P8, P9 territory.
Yep, and Vanya has no... Yeah, I was wondering why he was so slow in certain corners on this. He is absolutely empty on his ERS, and he kept trying to push the button, but it's like, once you're under that 10%, you just get no power really from deploying your ERS. So...
well, race is over because Geton and Zones have gone P1, P2. Danico's going to cross the line there in P3, but Hugo's, due to his consistency, will snatch that podium away. Some idiot who can't quite get the gap he needed to on Hugo's. He's going to come across the line in P5, and P6 goes to Yonti. Rainbow will get there and finish P7. Oh, he jumps up and gets Yonti as well, just about by half a second. Seapost will cross the line P8, but you know he's not staying there, as Yolta will come round the corners and come across the line. He might even jump him here. Yes, he will. Florian will not jump in. Brownie will go past all of them. Vanya up to P9. Higgsy gets a point. And that was how it all come down to consistency. Oh, man.
What a race.
That was crazy.
What a race.
Yeah. What a fantastic Grand Prix. The ending there was very interesting on penalty situation. Lots of people are jumping places, and Rainbow gets driver of the day. He actually started dead last, remember. He DQ'd in quali.
Yep. Yeah, he's definitely not just the game driver of the day, but I would say is mine as well. That was an incredible drive from him to do what he's managed to do. Kept it completely penalty free as well, which, you know, always puts a smile on a commentator's face. Oh yeah,
100%. It really does. So Geton is your winner. He started on pole. He finished in the race win position. 1:17.067 was his personal best, but the best overall was in fact Seapost on the soft tyres, who did a 1:15.266. Zones didn't quite look as polished as he was last week. He finishes P2 with Hugo's getting P3. Danico P4, Summit P5, Rainbow P6, and the driver of the day in game. And I think if we come down to it, I think he's also probably our driver of the day. Very good job from him. So also keep it clean and consistent. Yonti P7, Brownie P8, disaster for him. Couldn't quite work out how he wanted to. Just getting caught up in a contact with him and C-Post, and that was, you know, him into the pits. Fresh wing. Good recovery though. Back to P8. Can't complain. Vanya P9, Higgsy getting the final point with Yolta getting best of the rest. C-Post in P12 with a huge amount of penalties along with Florian in P13. Safso P14, Dennis 15th, and then your DNFers are Copy, Alex Bud, Phoenix Legend, and Top Tom. So, I'm going to ask you anyway, just to clarify, but who's your driver of the day?
Definitely Rainbow. I think he's just done, and from having a very shaky qualifying session to get DQ'd, he actually managed to have a very, very, very good race. He kept it clean, he was fast, he was consistent, and he managed to make a bunch of overtakes that, we know how difficult are around this track. And yeah, one of the very few drivers that kept it completely penalty free. So well done to him, and I think, driving the day is well deserved.
Well, we're actually going to speak to one of the drivers who kept themselves completely penalty free. It is Hugo's, who secures himself by the consistency a nice, juicy P3 podium position. How are you doing, Hugo's?
I'm good, thank you.
Yes. I mean, after that Grand Prix, fantastic. Now, P3, you were obviously stuck behind Danica for quite a while. You didn't look like he was trying to get past him at any point. Was that your game plan always, to just stay behind him?
I was always planning to stay behind him, but when I got within DRS, I actually struggled to stay in it because of the dirty air.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty difficult, to be truthfully honest, to actually stay that close and also then manage your lines as normal. The grip does drop. But you did a pretty good job of it, to say the least. You didn't get any penalties whatsoever. You secured that P3 position and also helped push Williams that little bit further closer to McLaren overall, because you and your teammate both scored big today.
Yeah.
Obviously, the prize fund goes to the constructors mainly. So... have you got your eye on the prize? Are you excited?
We're just taking each race as it is and seeing where we can get the most points.
Okay. Next week, though, I want to just quickly chat about that, because I think next week is going to be a very difficult track for a lot of people. I'm actually just going to jog my memory now, but I do remember, if I believe it's Belgium, isn't it? Isn't it Belgium next?
I think so.
Belgium, yes. It is a very difficult track in general. A very long track. Are you any good at this, Belgium?
I think I can get a good result, but...
good result being a podium?
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Spa on this game. It's not that interesting.
Fair enough. All right, well, listen, congratulations on the P3. You did a very good job today, and I look forward to seeing what you can bring for us in Spa.
Thank you.
Right then, P2, if I can find him. He doesn't look like he's around. I'm just going to message him. We'll get Owned in here, our race winner, whilst we wait. Mr. Get Owned, hello.
Hello.
Did you know it was going to be this easy?
No, not really. I mean, the setup was just perfect.
Was it
I was so
race engineer
confident
setup?
on this. No, Florian was driving as well, so.
I mean, was it atomic setup?
No. I made it myself.
Oh, nice.
So you need to settle something for us. Both you and Florian were not using 8th gear. Explain your reasoning for that.
I mean, the revs were not even high enough to go into 8th gear, so.
See,
But
I was right.
was
It's 11,800.
I have no idea.
That's the tipping point.
So obviously we were speculating because both you and Florian didn't go to gear 8 pretty much at all. Florian was actually maxing his revs out as he was chasing people down with DRS. So I was assuming that you guys knew something that we didn't, but evidently we were wrong. However, I do want to just talk about, you got P1 very easily in the qualifying, it looked like. No one was really contesting with you at all. Then he came into the race. There was a moment there where I thought, he's not quite got this. Someone might get him back. And then you just ran off and just took the lead. Was there any point in there where you had any series of doubt?
I mean, in qualifying, we were just waiting to see how many people want to start on softs, because we basically only practiced medium runs. But we waited like till minute 9 or so to see how many people do softs. And then, we were forced to use softs as well. And I mean, I was like thinking, it's not gonna be easy, but the times of the other guys were like really slow, I feel like. And yeah, I mean, I could have probably went faster by around 3 tenths because I bottled my last lap. Yeah, and coming into the race, I knew like P1 is a good position with the soft. And yeah, I mean, if I start P1, I really want to dominate the race, and yeah, I think I did.
So, are you going to be starting P1 in Spa next week?
I don't know. Need to see.
Why are you saying it like this to me, man? I need more confidence than this.
I mean, in Hungary, I knew I have good pace, but Belgium is different for me. Sector 2 doesn't suit me at all on this game. So yeah, need to see if I can change my driving style a little bit. But yeah, I mean, let's see, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Well, congratulations on the win. Huge points for your team and for you in the driver's standings. Maybe Florian can get it together one day to help you secure the constructors championship as well.
I mean, he had really good pace. It's really sad that he got front wing damage early on. I think he had the pace for top 3. Yeah, just unlucky for him. But we will try to come back stronger next week and get like us on the podium. Be good.
Okay, well, good luck for next week. I hope to see you on that podium once more. I want to see you get that very close quali once more. Oh, I was so pleased to see you up there. So well done, mate. And thank you for today. I'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And I've spoke to Zones. I think Zones is not feeling particularly enthused with his race, so he doesn't want to do an interview today. And that will mean then that is it for the end of the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in Hungary. I've been Ben Ragnar McConnell, and joining me has been Mr. Mark Hornbadger. Mikkel John, thank you so much for joining me. You are a lad, as always. My little Paul DeResta, Martin Brundle, Ted, even.
Tim? Yeah.
Not Tim, I don't know. I might listen, my brain's fried. All right, that was a very good race, and I look forward to seeing Spa next week.